Valentine's Day is a holiday filled with plenty of love, fancy dinners, and sweet treats. And here in Texas, the ways couples celebrate have changed through years in certain ways, and in others, stayed exactly the same. So now, a step back in time for a look at some of WFAA's most memorable Valentine's Day stories through the decades.
Elizabeth, how many Valentines did you get?
24.
24? Is that one from everybody in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you get one from your boyfriend?
I don't have a boyfriend.
Do you know why people give Valentines to people?
Because the wolves came to these people and they thought a special God helped them from the wolves, and they saw birds pick a partner, and they always had a party on February the 14th.
Oh, I never heard that before. Who's that Valentine from? You mean it's a secret Valentine?
It doesn't say who it's from.
Do you think it's from a secret girlfriend?
I don't know.
Do you have a girlfriend?
No.
Are you a little young to have a girlfriend, or you just don't like girls?
I don't like girls.
This white van is more than a means of transportation. For state health officials, this has become a prime way of disseminating information on a very critical health problem, VD. You might say this has become a VD mobile. It's really a multimedia unit designed by an ad firm in New York. Today it was parked on the mall at Seminary South Shopping Center in Fort Worth. The main feature of the van is a little character called Chubby Tex Cherub. The animated Chubby on the screen outside has an alter ego in the van in the person of a state health official, knowledgeable in venereal disease problems. He views the crowd through a one-way mirror, and the Chubby on screen strikes up a conversation with passers-by. His partner outside helps attract crowds, and together they form a kind of fast chatter act. Herschel Graves, who can handle either the outside come-on or the voice of Chubby, explains the theory behind the van.
Well, the van is a method of getting the problem, the venereal disease problem in Texas, in front of the people. We have a very large problem here, and people are not aware of it, and this van is an attention getter. Start some questions and make people aware that there is a very serious problem with venereal disease in Texas.
Other features of the van include a Walt Disney film on VD and plenty of literature about local free health clinics. The van will be traveling across the state over the next few months, stopping at schools, housing projects, or shopping centers, anywhere Chubby can attract an audience. Although a concentrated effort has been made to bring the VD problem to the public's awareness, the rate of incidence continues to rise. Methods like this van reflect an effort on the part of the public health officials to make the problem more of a reality by bringing it down to an open conversation on a one-to-one basis. Linda Metcalf, Channel 8 News, Fort Worth.
Up in the air, it's not a bird, it's a plane towing a marriage proposal. Cindy Richardson, I love you. Will you marry me? Ron. And here's Ron, actually Dr. Ronald Hellstern of Medical City and Methodist Hospital's emergency departments. And he's not about to miss Cindy's reaction. She thinks he's in Houston on business.
She made the remark to me a long time ago when we were dating that if someone asked her to get married, it would have to be a super fandango affair. And so when we finally decided to make that decision, this is the only thing I could dream up that was wilder than a singing telegram or whatever.
You think she's going to like it?
Oh, I think she's going to be thrilled if I've planned it right.
Apparently he did, or maybe the sudden burst of spring weather helped, but everything went perfectly. Out came Nurse Cindy Richardson, summoned by her co-workers who spotted the winged messenger first. And no winner on Let's Make a Deal gave a better show of excitement. Then it was Dr. Hellstern's young daughter Missy's turn. She was in charge of flowers. But the doctor himself had to hand over the ring, a very healthy-looking diamond indeed. All of which was just too exciting to keep from the enthusiastic crowd of medical folks applauding in the parking lot. They just had to have a look at the prize, too. Are you pleased with your Valentine's Day present?
Yes, I'm very pleased. Never expected it. Oh boy, this thing.
Never expected
This thing. You told me the end of the month.
Is your answer yes after all this trouble?
Yes.
After which she asked when, and her groom-to-be said August or September. Well, now that he's got her undivided attention, let's hope the wedding doesn't seem a little grounded by comparison. Jane Horwitz, Channel 8 News.
Valentine's Day can be downright depressing for romantics without anyone to appreciate them. The sight of happy couples, hearts, and flowers. But what are you waiting for? For $10, a California company will send you the love letter, special stationery and suggested messages to slip discreetly to someone who would otherwise be just a ship passing in the night, or on the elevator, or wherever.
It is hard to go up and approach somebody, but at the same time, there is a time in everyone's life when they see that person that they want to approach. And I think that urge would overcome any hesitancy, because it just reverses the tables. It gives the person an opportunity to meet somebody that they wouldn't normally be able to meet.
However your initial meeting is arranged, lunch is always a good beginning. For at least one Dallas couple, it was going to be extra special. Reunion Tower was the scene. The plan was to take the lady to the top of the tower and nonchalantly sit there while a biplane circled outside trailing a big banner. Gala, on cloud 9, your Valentine, David. David Smith paid $135 to tell Gala that, but the persistent fog and clouds grounded the plane. Luckily, the weather didn't dampen their spirits. Chris Thomas, Channel 8 News.
It's called Flowers of Extinction, and it's for people who care enough to send the very worst. When words alone are not enough, its owners say, you should express yourself with flowers. Flowers that are dead on arrival.
Yes, this lady specifically wanted a variety of flowers, so we try to offer as much as possible. Late-in-day spring bouquet, I guess you could say.
For just $15, you can get a dozen dead flowers delivered anywhere in the Washington area, beautifully packaged and presented. If dead flowers aren't enough, there's an added service called Dump-A-Date, a pointed little poem enclosed with the bouquet to be really sure that he or she gets the message. It can be either written to order or taken from a stock that's kept on file, listed alphabetically, B for bore, C for cheapskate, and so on. While Flowers of Extinction will hand-carry any order, its owners prefer not to linger as the package is opened. You don't stick around and wait to see the reaction when you deliver these flowers?
No, we just deliver and try to leave as promptly as possible.
And the overheads are practically nil. Their stock comes from a florist who says they're doing him a favor by taking out his trash. The owners of Flowers of Extinction seem confident that their kind of service will be more than just a passing fad here. They argue that even if it is love that makes the world go round, there'll always be times when love is like a dead, dead rose. Hillary Brown, ABC News, Washington.
Paul asked Danielle to marry him on Christmas Eve. She said yes then and has been saying yes again every day.
Ever since then, on a daily basis, I've been asking her again, will you marry me?
Were you not sure?
No. No. Just to sort of show her that I still was very sincere in what I wanted to do and looking forward to getting married.
Danielle faithfully agreed to become Paul's wife daily, but her patience was wearing thin. She decided an ad in the personal column would let the whole world know the answer was truly, emphatically, and definitely yes.
He was shocked. Not at my saying yes, but the fact that it was public notice, so to speak, in the love lines.
Okay. Now, I guess the big question that I have to ask you, Paul, is now that you've seen it in print and the whole world knows, are you going to finally stop asking?
No need to ask anymore.
He's got his answer.
And now she's getting her ring. She won't need to say yes again, but she promises to say I do at a June wedding. Barbara Bousquet, Channel 8 News.
It's been difficult for me, such a long wait, but I know it's been much more difficult for her.
Ronnie Fox needs a new heart. For 5 weeks, he's waited for a transplant at Baylor University Medical Center, his wife Wita at his side. Modern technology cares for their medical needs, but it's a volunteer program called Heart to Heart that gives them emotional support.
They're great morale boosters, great confidence boosters, and they're a very, very close-knit group, more like family than they are volunteer workers.
Heart to Heart volunteers Weldon Evans and Janice McNeil check on the patients, but mostly they're around to help family members. The hospital's heart wing can be a lonely place, especially when home and family are far away.
If you're down or anything, they come out there and try to cheer you up, and they come back here to check on him and see if he's all right, and come back and let me know, and that means a lot to me.
Well, if there's anything we can do to help you today, we'll be here most of the day. I know you.
Heart-to-Heart volunteers understand the weight and the worry all too well. They or family members have been heart patients in the past. In the hospital's waiting rooms, they listen and counsel and comfort those experiencing it now.
It seems that the people who come here to this waiting room form bonds of friendship with each other. Where there is an expression of appreciation the most is when we were able to tell the people toward the end of surgery and at the end of surgery that everything's all right.
These volunteers are living success stories, able to offer answers the doctors may not have.
They're here to pass out Kleenex and to dispense hugs and to pat them on the shoulder and say, I know how you're feeling. I've been through something very similar.
Since the program's start 4 years ago, Heart-to-Heart volunteers have made more than 6,000 visits to patients and families. Illness may have brought them together, but some understanding and a little hand-holding give families hope for the future. Nan Goplerud, Channel 8 News.
If romance had a flavor, it would probably be chocolate. 58% of Americans give or get chocolate on Valentine's Day. It's a day for delicacies, no doubt, but there is a way to chomp into chocolate without paying the price in calories. One option is
the Chocolate Lover's Angel Food Cake. That's the perfect cake for somebody who loves chocolate and doesn't want to sin at all.
The Cake Bible offers recipes for this cake and many others that are low in cholesterol and saturated fats. In the Angel Food Cake, cocoa powder gives a rich chocolatey flavor without the saturated fats found in regular baking chocolate. And a baker's secret intensifies the chocolate taste.
The trick is to use boiling water to stir into the cocoa. And that releases flavor so that you can use maybe 1/3 the amount of cocoa you would have to use normally with the same flavor impact.
And cocoa powder is one of the ingredients in the low-fat, low-calorie cocoa muffins made by registered dietitian Barbara Albright. Albright edits the sumptuous magazine Chocolatier, which now features low-calorie recipes in each issue.
People are really interested in that.
Albright says many dessert recipes can be lower in calories and fat with a few substitutions. In her cocoa muffins, she uses buttermilk instead of sour cream to give them richness and a tender consistency. And she goes heavy on the vanilla.
It uses a substantial amount of vanilla for the recipe because vanilla can make sweetness go farther without adding extra sugar.
So sweets for your sweet don't have to be heavy. These cocoa muffins and the chocolate angel food cake are perfect for light-hearted romance. Carolyn O'Neill, CNN.
Jimmy Franklin had chest pains because not enough blood was flowing through his coronary arteries to nourish the heart muscle. Triple bypass surgery last October improved the circulation. This test, called a stress echo, will give Jimmy's doctor a visual record of how the heart is doing during exercise. This technology blends electrocardiograms with ultrasound and computerization without any incisions or radiation.
By being able to couple the stress test to a device where we can actually image the heart squeezing, we can actually look at the walls of the heart and detect motion abnormalities indicative of coronary disease, which is what we're looking for. Do you have any discomfort in your chest? Not a bit. Terrific.
These pictures show what happened to Jimmy's heart after exercise, but before his surgery.
This wall of the heart, which is this wall of the heart, stands still. It no longer squeezes. And that would suggest that in the artery that supplies blood to that segment of the heart muscle, there's a problem, generally a blockage or a narrowing.
But after surgery, his heart responded this way to exercise.
Good blood supply was established, and now you can see a dynamic contractility immediately after exercise.
It's kind of amazing, you know. I know it's me, but, you know, I'm just amazed by it.
I guess that's when we fell in love, or I fell in love. She gave me a Valentine that day. followed me around, and I didn't want anything to do with a 15-year-old kid. But our hands touched, and it was just like electricity, you know, and it has been ever since. When we, every time our hands touch, it just kind of a shock, you know.
When we married, people married to stay married. You didn't think about the fact that you could marry and you could get a divorce. You get to have a wonderful companionship when it was just wild and romantic at first. And of course, as your children grow and your grandchildren grow, it's like a double and triple love then.
When you love somebody, you don't notice all their mistakes. You give to people, you don't grab.
Sometimes you get more compassion, sometimes you don't.
In my younger years, love was a big part of my life, but anymore it's just, I'd rather have a good friend than have a good lover.
You see someone in need, reach out and help them, and that's what love is all about.
He really took care of me through 9 months of chemotherapy. So that's love.
When she was in the hospital, I nearly went crazy, you know, from being lonely when I couldn't be at the hospital with her.
That's nice to hear. I've always thought Bald was beautiful, because to me he was. So I'll only have one sweetheart in my lifetime, but the memories keep it alive forever, really.
There are no roses here, few chocolates to speak of, but there's no mistaking, this is definitely a holiday of hearts.
This is something that I've always had in my heart to do.
Bethany Jones formed the Senior Citizen Joy Spreaders. Now she almost single-handedly brightens the lives of senior citizens for whom holidays like today would
essentially be just another day.
Well, I think that's a wonderful thing. That's the most precious thing that anybody could do to get us back.
Ethany isn't paid for her work, but she's certainly rewarded.
One of the residents, she turned and looked at me after I gave her the teddy bear. She says, you know, you don't know how you make us feel.
But she gets a pretty good indication by looking at the faces others may have forgotten. Renee Seiler, Channel 8 News.
"27 brides walked down the aisle for a mass Valentine's Day wedding ceremony. An Austin Rock radio station picked up the tab for everything but the $25 marriage license. Cheryl McCormick, who prefers listening to Garth Brooks, had doubts. She wanted a church wedding, but Cheryl's groom didn't want to wait. He vowed to wear a cowboy hat, boots, and quit listening to Prince. Cheryl will get a church wedding to reconfirm vows when they can afford it.
As you can see, he didn't used to be a cowboy at all. And I think we've made some good changes.
We just don't have the money to do it right now. And, you know, they're sponsoring it, so we thought that was a great idea, or I did. I wasn't going to pass it up.
Pamela Cook shimmies into her petticoat after having only 3 days to get ready. Many brides spend months planning, but grooms who saw the chance for a free ceremony worth a few $1,000s quickly popped the question.
I got down on my knee and proposed to her. She loved it. She couldn't believe it.
You're in.
Okay, you can just button the top and then I'm through.
This is Cheryl Flowers' third trip to the altar.
Now, is this the third time around for your dress?
For what? No, oh no. This is something borrowed.
Something borrowed?
Something borrowed. What's the something blue? I forgot.
An ordained minister from MTV officiated the ceremony, but the grooms could barely utter a faint "I do."
And do you promise loyalty and honesty to her forever?
I do.
I think that was everybody.
One marriage from last year's group Valentine ceremony has been annulled. A DJ heard from them today.
To say, well, I'd like to make a dedication, but it's not to the same person this year. It's to someone different.
Newlyweds didn't fully break with tradition. They toasted future happiness and posed for a free photo of cutting the cake. 50 couples had planned to tie the knot here today, but at the last minute, 23 couples got cold feet. Robert Riggs, Channel 8 News, Austin.
Let's see if we can't seat you right here.
This is the 4th year that these two couples have enjoyed Valentine's Day together. And each year for the past 4, they've tried to come up with something different to do.
Every other year, the guys do something for the girls, and this was our year. And last year, the girls did something for the guys, so we just had to come up with something different.
So Joe and Herb got the idea to enjoy Valentine's Day lunch with their wives in a dress shop window.
Oh, my name is on the wall.
Joe Parrish knew the store employees, and they suggested their front window as a perfect setting. Joe got into it, winking at people as they passed by.
There's no doubt it's love, all right, 'cause I've never felt this way.
As a pair of country musicians he hired played some favorite tunes.
When we first walked in here, I thought maybe we were going to have a shopping spree or something like that. I wasn't really sure, but then I saw the table set up and people walking around.
This is Chef Mike.
Martrice and Marlette are sisters, and Herb and Joe are old friends. The ladies are already scheming what next Valentine's Day is going to be.
We have a few ideas we're already working on, yeah. But I'm not going to tell you because he'll know.
In years past, they've done things like go on hay rides in sleet storms on Valentine's Day. Still, there is something different about sitting here eating a catered lunch in front of the whole world.
I won't tell you that I haven't eaten in 2 days. Chips and salsa are my favorite food. But y'all go ahead and eat.
We're not going to ask you to join us.
I think it's great. I think it's great. I mean, it's definitely different, and it was a real surprise. It's fun.
Yeah. What's it like to eat in front of people?
It's no different than you just put it in your mouth and chew up a little bit.
John Prock, Channel 8 News, Irving.
Bonnie Wagner has worked 12 hours a day for the past week and a half, and she hasn't stopped running yet.
I have 3 deliveries here, and I take them into the flower room, and the ladies take them. Right, that's for you. Oh, how wonderful. I'm not personally anything to them, but I am bringing something to them from someone they care about and love dearly.
The 52-year-old former truck driver says this job is a lesson in human behavior.
Are you Patty Elliott? Okay, these are for you.
Flowers are an intimate expression of love given publicly.
He's a guy I've gone with for a couple years now, and he's proposed to me 2 weeks ago. So,
what are you going to say?
I told him yes.
Bonnie says female coworkers always have the same reaction.
If I don't get something from my husband, I'm gonna kill him.
And the increasing number of men who get flowers try to act like they don't care.
Oh, they make such a to-do about what is macho, but they love it.
2 of today's deliveries aren't home. A third is the wrong address. You're a sleuth. You got to be a sleuth.
Oh, to find these streets, I tell everybody to do this job, they should just tell me planet Earth and I'll go find it.
And with that, Bonnie is on her way, delivering her colorful expressions of love around this part of the planet. Mary Stewart, Channel 8 News.
Now you wear about a 6, looks like.
That's correct.
He's got a jeweler's eye for sizing up a woman's finger, and then on the spot, he offers her a ring.
We haven't been engaged in a long time.
Well, it's been a while,
Yeah.
but I think we need to. Do I get to take my choice?
75-year-old Jack Tunstall hands out rings like others hand out business cards. They go to just about anyone he meets, and no one ever forgets him.
Now tell me why you do this.
Fun. I believe in having fun all the time, and I do this.
Of course, they're not real diamonds, but they are impressive. Baguettes for pinkies, pavés for ring fingers, and some mighty big solitaires for any finger they fit.
I think it's nice. I thought it was very sweet of him.
Tell me about your engagement to Mr. Tunstall.
Well, it was the same day as everybody else's. Well, everybody up here anyway.
Where do you get these
I get them
rings?
in Dallas. Pretty cheap, but they don't turn green.
Some might call him a ladies' man, but Tunstall's the first to say he's no Romeo. His only love is his wife of 50 years.
I want to know what your wife thinks.
She's 100% for it, and she's a character too.
And for those who meet him on Valentine's or any time, there's a reason to smile and remember him. Karen Kelly, Channel 8 News.
One look
On the road again with 4 members of the Rich Tones Chorus. This is the second year this women's barbershop quartet has sung Valentine's Day greetings around North Texas. Naomi Ware, Gwen Smith, Ronna Fly, and Holly Beck belong to the famous 160-member Rich Tones Chorus, which performs as a group. But each Valentine's Day breaks up into quartets to sing greetings at homes, schools, and offices. This one's in Carrollton.
Maybe I'm old-fashioned, feeling as I do.
Jane Stoddard's husband ordered a Valentine's Day rose and song.
Were you surprised?
Yes.
What'd you think?
Well, they told me that somebody had fallen in the mailroom, so I was coming down in a panic, so this is better.
The North Dallas area ladies got off work to sing on Valentine's Day. The service is $25, and the money goes to the chorus. They were taking orders all morning on their cell phone.
Now, what happens to your Valentine's Day, though? It kind of goes out the window, doesn't it?
Oh, no, this is the Valentine all its own. This is for us. This is really a lot of fun.
I'm in love again.
Here at Lake Dallas Elementary School, Georgiana Price teaches 4th grade.
This was the best Valentine's present I've ever had.
Love again. I can't get over those eyes.
For the quartet, it's all in a day's work. John Prock, Channel 8 News, Lake Dallas.
Inside this little shop are 4 women very experienced in the matter of love. For altogether, they've been married a total of 167 years.
We had a wedding in a little country church out in West Texas.
They remember their wedding day like it was yesterday, but many decades have passed for Mary Brock, Jody Gerritsen, Linda Petty, and Joe Rogers. Seamstresses and friends who share the memories while threading needles and hemming prom dresses.
We had to go through it about 5 times before we really showed on the air, so I guess we were married 5 times.
My wedded husband.
To be my wedding husband.
To have and to hold.
To have and to hold.
In 1952, in New York City, Joe and J.B. Rogers were married on a live TV show that aired daily.
I think you really have to work at marriage, and I think you have to give a lot on both sides.
The big thing to me is have a sense of humor, you know, and just tell them you love them every once in a while.
And on Valentine's, they're not forgotten. All the special ways to say, I love you, are right there. And while they are true blue to their husbands, they're not opposed to an occasional serenade by a customer, an Elvis impersonator.
For all falling in love with
Karen Kelly, Channel 8 News.
And my sister gets a Valentine. Everybody, and my daughter gets a Valentine.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you.
There you are. That's for you. Just for being nice.
Okay.
St. Paul's. And we go upstairs. Almost every day, Anita, is Valentine's Day to me.
3 years ago, someone gave Bill Foster a new heart. And now he gives others the love in that heart.
To wish you a happy Valentine's Day. I have tended to, in the last 3 years, focus on, I have a new heart, and I'm blessed every day that that new heart keeps me going.
Foster gives support to other transplant patients.
First thing I did was, after they took me out of medical restraints, was to feel my pulse. And I felt the heart beating in there, just bang, 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 bang. And I couldn't believe it. It was like unbelievable feeling. I just want people to know that if they're ever facing this, that it's not a traumatic situation. It's an enriching situation. And the first heart transplant, as you probably don't know but have heard about, occurred in 1967.
If you don't find him at St. Paul Medical Center, he may be giving a talk elsewhere about how donating organs helps save lives.
All right, and your question?
How long did it take you to get the heart transplant?
That 9 hours. You mean in the surgery? Yeah. 9 hours.
Oh, what is that? A cookie?
What is that?
Or Foster may be at home giving time to his 2-year-old grandson, who he may never have known.
Boom, 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 boom. Sam, you're a great guy. You're a great guy.
Foster waited 5 months for a transplant. Today in North Texas, at least 300 people hope for a new heart, but many will die while waiting. As Foster tells students, there are plenty of organs, but too few donors.
That's the sad side. But we could try to focus on those who receive the organs, and it makes our life worthwhile. Happy Valentine's Day.
And on this day of celebrating hearts, Foster hopes to teach others to rejoice at each beat of life.
And I still find myself occasionally just reaching down and feeling the heart, how it's beating. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I thank my donor and my donor's family for giving me that.
Anita Vanetti, Channel 8 News.
All right.
I found that there's an aspect of gardening that makes some people a little uneasy, and that's pruning. They're not sure when to make the cut or how much to cut, or if it'll hurt the plant. But actually, good pruning practices are a part of good gardening. You can actually help invigorate a plant, help it last longer for many years, and perform better if you prune them properly and at the right time. And there's no better example of this than the hybrid tea rose. We've all seen them, these picture-perfect, large, full-bodied blossoms. It's easy to see why they're so popular, because they'll bloom like this until the first signs of cold weather. There's really nothing to pruning these guys, but you want to start with the right tools. All you'll need is a good pair of sharp bypass or scissor type pruners. And I like to use at least one glove to help protect my hands when I stick them through these thorny stems. The first to go are any dead or damaged canes, and always remove any of these stumps from previous years. Now this next step may seem a little radical because I'm going to cut the entire plant down to about 24 inches or roughly knee height. I'm going to do this because it's actually good for the plant and it'll make it easier to work. Then I'll identify 3 to 4 of the strongest canes and remove all of the others and take out any limbs that crisscross, because you see this will help ventilation, and air circulation is very important. As I prune, I make my cuts at a slight angle, about 1/4 of an inch above an outwardly facing bud, and in no time the plant goes from this to this. Now next time we'll take a look at some other ways to give your roses a boost and how to take care of some of these wounds. From the garden, I'm Alan Smith.
I think I've got mostly peanuts.
Thousands of North Texans are shopping for ways to say, I love you.
Monday will be probably horrendous because it will be all the last minute people. And we'll have people knocking on the door at 5 after 6 wanting, oh, I just need one Valentine, you know.
America's greeting card industry will top $5 billion this year. Mother's Day and Valentine's make up a huge part of those sales, with people shopping for lots of friends and family.
And children, and a mother, and a husband, so far.
There are the traditional ways to say, I'm thinking of you, and the untraditional, like chocolate-scented candles, or maybe a love coupon book. Weekend of romance, what's your pleasure?
Well, I'm not going to say, but we have a good day planned.
Oh, come on, now I'm really curious, you know? And so are about 1 million other people.
I wondered if y'all were going to come.
Americans will spend 75% of their Valentine budget on chocolate gifts, according to the Chocolate Manufacturers Association. But the florists of America might dispute that.
And you know what? There's nothing more romantic than flowers. Absolutely nothing.
Roses in North Texas are running from $65 to $80 a dozen.
Most of your men will order roses.
No matter what the gift, most agree every Valentine is special on this day devoted to love. Karen Kelly, Channel 8 News.
No kidding.
It's Joyce Burns' 66th birthday. Her family sang, she blew out the candles, and then husband Jerry laced up her roller skates. That's right, Jerry decided to surprise her with a birthday party at this Louisville roller skating rink.
When he said, we're going to go skating before we're going to go eat, I said, skating? I could not believe. I said, are they even open today? And he said, yeah, we're going skating. And I said, oh my goodness.
50 years ago, they met at a roller rink near Cleburne. Neither had skated much in the past 10 years, but it all came back to them.
Yeah, we got to count them now.
One, two.
You used to not have to do this.
Best couple on the floor, aren't they?
Oh, I know.
While family looked on, the two had the rink all to themselves. Jerry even brought a tape of old roller rink music. Joyce spent her youth skating in a traveling show across the Midwest. After they met, they settled in North Texas. They now live in Farmers Branch. Of the 66 previous birthdays, Joyce says this one is special.
I was so surprised. It's the best birthday present I've ever had, or ever will have, I'm sure. You're going to have me cry.
Sore tomorrow.
Oh, you probably, yeah.
John Pronk, Channel 8 News, Louisville.
On Friday nights from 6 to midnight, singles searching for romance rely on the matchmaker.
105.7 next, my special in-studio guest, next on Matchmaker.
Radio personality Wendy Schofield and producer Sonia Love take calls from divorcees, widows, parents, and plain old single folk.
105.7.
People putting their hearts on the line describe themselves on the air.
It's your money. Terry's Tax can help. You are how old?
I'm 44.
And how tall?
I think it's a great concept. The listeners take it seriously. I take it seriously.
Callers use code names.
So that if they don't want to be known, that way they can feel a little bit more at ease at, being on the radio and talking to, thousands of people.
What are some names?
Cold Threat, Bodyguard. There's so many different names. Some of them are so cute.
You're single, never married, no children, right? Right. I got it. Okay. Bye-bye.
A lot of people may think that you've got to be desperate to do something like this.
People aren't tuning in to get turned on. They're tuning in to connect with mature, professional adults.
Welcome to Matchmaker Mingle. I'm Wendy Schofield.
Every Thursday night, Wendy hosts Matchmaker Mingle in Addison's Broadway Jazz Cafe.
It is a very professional, upscale-friendly crowd. I like that. All ages, from your 20s all the way to your 70s. And I love that because I don't want it to be all one age, because people are looking for love at all ages.
Couch potato, come on girl, your pretty self.
Anyone who called into the Matchmaker, Wendy introduces to the crowd.
Her name is Couch Potato because she never goes anywhere. This is her second time, can't believe it.
Even though Couch Potato hasn't found love yet, she's sticking with the Matchmaker.
I feel it's much safer than internet or, just being out there. So this feels more comfortable.
Wendy Schofield's been matchmaking since June 2001. She has some words of wisdom regarding her craft.
I think that people need to be whole. If you come into a relationship bringing a lot of baggage, or you're not happy with yourself and you don't love yourself, then I don't think, any relationship is really going to work out.
And what's Wendy's status?
I am single, never married, no children.
Looking?
I am ready. Know anybody?
Chocolate, chocolate, and more chocolate. The sweet and tempting treat is everywhere this Valentine's Day. But given our nation's problem with obesity, is a 5-pound box of chocolate really a sign of affection?
In and of itself, a single 5-pound box of chocolate is not likely to do a whole lot one time around. It's the overall pattern and behavior that goes along with that creates a lifestyle change or lifestyle problem.
And with that problem comes an unhealthy, potentially heart-damaging expanding of the waistline.
It's actually probably one of the most unrecognized but prevalent diseases that we have. And I use the word disease appropriately. Depending on which study you read and how you do the calculations, on the order of 50% of the U.S. adult population are overweight, and on the order of 30% are obese.
So if huge boxes of chocolate are not advised this Valentine's Day, what do the heart experts suggest?
Give them a trip to the spa, flowers, try getting out walking, buy your loved one a pair of running shoes and say, let's go spend some quality time walking. And this would include your children as well.
For Baylor Healthcare System, I'm Dr. David Winter.
You know what I love about being on TV? All you people watching out there can't eat 'em.
You know them, you love them, you eat them. M&Ms. Now science may owe them something. Not for their flavor, it's their shape.
This is not a new problem, but it certainly advances a very old problem.
Molecular chemist John Seibert of UTD says that for decades, scientists have been trying to figure out the best way of cramming the most stuff in the smallest space. The most common solution is a spherical shape, like a golf ball.
If I place them in a container, and I do so in just a random way, I let the golf balls fill the container, you can see empty spaces between the golf balls.
But a better shape for putting the most stuff in the smallest space, the M&M, whose shape is scientifically known as the oblate ellipsoid.
Even though these are smaller, there's less air in between than there were with the spheres.
The point? Well, if you're making a ceramic like glass, it might be harder and more heat resistant if you started with M&M shapes instead of spheres. And that process might mean better materials to withstand, say, the heat and stress of a space launch.
We have booster ignition and liftoff.
So savor that oblate ellipse. One small step for M,
Now go up there and
one giant step for M-kind.
hey, look. Listen up, you.
Byron Harris, Channel 8 News.
It is by far one of the busiest days at Dr. Delphinium's. The flower shop has ordered some 30,000 red roses to fill last-minute orders of a variety of arrangements for Valentine's Day.
I like flowers all the time, but especially on Valentine's Day, just to say I love you.
But severe weather threatens to put a freeze on Valentine's Day.
If your husband came home tomorrow and said, you know, I ordered some flowers for delivery this morning, but the weather was bad, would you be understanding or would you be a little upset?
I would be understanding because that's happened to me before.
Daryl Tarto knows better. He's getting his flowers early.
Rain, sleet, or snow.
A postal carrier himself, he knows the importance of delivering special packages on time, especially on Valentine's Day.
If their wife or girlfriend is anything like mine, they'd be in trouble. It's going to be a long, cold evening.
At Dr. Delphinium's, they know the consequences of no flowers on Valentine's Day.
Some guys, you know, maybe in the doghouse tomorrow if they don't get these flowers. Is that a lot of pressure on you guys?
Just a little. Yeah, just a little.
Still, delivery truck drivers are ready to roll, no matter what the weather.
Those have to drive a little slow, be careful, but we will get them there.
Since it is the most romantic day of the year, these 5 couples all decided it'd be a great opportunity to renew their wedding vows.
How are you doing?
Oh, fine.
They live at Classic Residence Hyatt in North Dallas. This ceremony is something they all wanted. So friends and family turn out to wish Tommy and Lucille, Bill and Billy, Joe and Jean, Harold and Mary, Jack and Lois all the best. Rabbi Klein blesses the couples.
You can kiss and I'm going to kiss you.
And Pastor McClellan conducts the ceremony.
To love and to cherish.
To love and to cherish.
Till death do us part. I now pronounce you husband and wife. Gentlemen, you may kiss your bride.
Some have been married 6 decades, others only a few years. But to each couple, their marriage is special.
We met in Oklahoma City at a church party on Valentine's night. It was leap year. And then 2 years later, we married on Christmas Day because that was the only day I had off work.
We've been married 58 years, going on 59.
Were you nervous?
Oh, terribly.
Not nearly as nervous this time as I had.
We had been married before, and we married after we met for 3 weeks and got married.
Been married for 56 years. And it's
It's been a good one.
A lot of it's putting up with each other, and a lot of it's loving each other.
John Pronk, Channel 8 News, Dallas. Shorty and Faye Galloway come down to this East Dallas VFW post each Sunday to play bingo and cards.
Hi, Faye, Shorty.
Everybody knows them. Everybody loves them.
Come here, Baba.
Shorty has 1 million friends, about 500,000 of them women.
Now, if it was done behind my back, I might get mad. He's a sweetie pie. I'm used to that.
Faye has nothing to worry about. Her husband has been devoted to her since they met 60 years ago.
Well, stuff like this right here, like these red roses, I got a big bouquet of them at home.
For Valentine.
For Valentine's Day, I always get nice birthday presents or cards.
I've never seen a man more affectionate to a woman than Shorty is to Faye Galloway. I will say that right now.
He was in the Army, just back to Tyler, Texas from World War II in Europe. He was decorated with 2 Purple Hearts and a Soldier's Medal of Honor. They met at a Tyler PX where Faye was working.
Boys got to tease me, why don't you try to get a date with that girl that works in the PX? And I said, oh, she wouldn't go with me.
Well, he asked me for a date, and we started going together, and we kind of fell in love and met him September the 1st and married him November the 18th. That's not too much time.
And this Valentine's Day, like all the previous ones, Shorty knows just what to say.
What would I like to tell her? I love her.
You know what? I think it's going to work.
I don't think I'd ever made it if I hadn't had such a good man.
John Pronk, Channel 8 News, Dallas.
TCU students dig in to new research that suggests death by chocolate may instead be a long life.
And so these 600 or so compounds that are in this chocolate are working together with other vitamins and minerals to help relax your blood vessels, to help reduce the clotting, and so your blood can flow better.
Students in the gourmet foods class pay close attention to nutrition professor Ann Van Bieber.
Let it drip and then put it on wax paper.
And this is one lab experiment they will try at home. New brands of chocolate, with many that feature nearly pure cocoa, attract health-conscious shoppers like Ron Barbie to Central Market.
I look at 70% cocoa, 85% cocoa, something that tells you what the cocoa content is.
More cocoa means less sugar and cocoa butter. He buys it every week.
This is the 85, and this is the 85 for you, Tara. And you want milk, right?
And while Barbie grew up on sweet milk chocolate, his children are raised on bittersweet. Dark chocolate may be richer in health benefits than red wine and even green tea because of what scientists call flavonoids and antioxidants.
When we say that chocolate is heart protective, it helps prevent the artery clogging, cholesterol in our blood, and so it could help prevent heart disease and heart attacks and stroke.
And so on Valentine's Day, go ahead, have a bite, and feel less guilty.
No, you can't have chocolate instead of broccoli, but I think a kiss a day might be okay.
Karen Kelly, Channel 8 News.
7, wait time is 1 minute 39 seconds.
Operators are standing by, deliveries rolling out. It's a jungle in here.
How many roses are you going to go through?
A lot.
Bruce McShann's parents opened this store 22 days before he was born.
The closer you get to the day, the more panicked they are.
Yeah. One time we had a customer come in. I mean, the store was full of beautiful roses, arrangements.
Liz Woodard's been at it here for 17 years. She's seen just about every emotion in a man trying to do the right thing for Valentine's Day.
And there was this one bronze-colored mum up there. And the man picked it up and said, I didn't want to be in the doghouse. I'm sure glad I got this. And I went to tell him, I bet you're still going to be in the doghouse coming home with that bronze mum instead of one of these beautiful arrangements.
It's not just the flowers that need water here.
This is your drink?
Yes, it is.
Is it big enough?
No, it's not.
Arlene and the rest of the crew here arrange it so that Valentine's Day says love for the rest of us.
You don't want water?
Oh, water?
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
But is it in the man's gene to recognize art from this?
As the hours tick by and flower shoppers get a little more desperate, I might be able to sell them just about any arrangement, even one without a flower on it. Let's go find it. This is the newest thing this year. What you do is, for $12.95, you get the arrangement, but then you actually lop off the flowers, cut the rose off, and then the stems are the most, what women want now, I guess. What do you think? $12.95?
And then it costs an additional $12.95 to go without the rose.
$12.95 without the rose.
Without the rose. Oh.
Right. It's a signature series.
Okay.
I'll give you $5.
$5?
Ray already had an arrangement picked out. He picked up a dozen red roses with 2 white roses standing in the middle.
It kind of separates us from, individualizes us together from everybody else.
No, that's a romantic guy.
He also makes it a habit to take them to his wife's work, just to remind her how much she means to him.
Hey, baby.
So in front of her 2nd grade class, he did just that.
Happy Valentine's Day. You are my sweetheart, my love, and I love you. Listen here. This is a
The dozen roses is $85.
Cupid shot arrows all over North Texas, delighting sweethearts.
You can't miss Valentine's Day.
What could happen?
I don't know.
You've never missed it?
No, never missed it.
A trail of rose petals led to Sally's Flower Shop. We are for 55 years in the same pink building with the antique sign. There's been a race to get it done and delivered before dark. Now, how long would it take you to do something like that?
About 5 minutes.
5 minutes? And behind all these flowers is a football player. Hey, Kent, are you ready to throw some footballs today? Kent Nix has owned several flower shops since he was a star quarterback at TCU and played in the pros, the Packers, Steelers, Oilers, and the Bears.
A lot of the guys come in here and they feel safe talking to him.
No, this is the fun part, just getting them all out. The hard work was, you know, the 2 or 3 days, 4 days before of staying late and making up all the arrangements and all the roses and things like that.
Nix and many florists will deliver hundreds of dozens today, but this is great Valentine's weather, unlike last February 14th, when every florist woke up to this and worried. As a wife, do you ever get flowers?
Yes, but you know what? They don't mean the same, because I know what the price was.
Fortunately, most sweethearts don't.
Oh my gosh, there's a box too. How cute. I got candy and flowers.
Karen Kelly, Channel 8 News, Fort Worth.
Cocoa beans contain 3 substances that may be healthy when processed into chocolate. They are flavonoids, polyphenols, and tannins. During digestion, flavonoids and polyphenols produce antioxidants, which may guard against cancer and heart disease.
The flavonoids, it's actually been shown that has heart-healthy effects.
Lisa Harper is both a dental hygienist and registered dietitian, a rare combination. Harper says it's important to note that some research studies are funded by candy companies. Still, chocolate may do more good than harm if consumed in moderation.
Phenols themselves actually help cholesterol.
For dental health, tannins may prove to be beneficial. So how do the tannins work?
The tannins stop the action of the bacteria on the teeth, so it just stops the process of cavity formation.
What would your recommendation be for the healthiest chocolate for Valentine's Day?
Dark chocolate. It's got more tannins, more flavonoids, more phenols, all the good stuff.
Sharon Zadens eats chocolate every day as the owner of the Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory at the Dallas Galleria.
I've been doing this since 1986, and I'm coming in on 40 here, and I don't have a cavity in my mouth.
So if you get a box of chocolates for Valentine's Day, avoid nibbling on its contents all day long. For your dental health, limit your snacking to once or maybe twice a day. For Baylor College of Dentistry, Texas A&M System, I'm Dr. Linda Neeson, Channel 8 News.
It's a source of lying and cheating.
Steve Buchholz would know. A family law attorney for 35 years, he sees couples torn apart because they don't know how to talk about money.
If you don't have openness between a couple as far as money, as far as relationships, as far as talking about these things, and if you become kind of a shell within yourself, the problem is that you just start drifting farther and farther apart.
All right, so you agree to be open. How? Experts say try banking online with your spouse. Both should keep track of what the household costs are and talk about things. If you feel the need to hide a purchase, chances are it may be problematic.
If they've never learned to manage their own personal income, then it only gets more complicated when two people get involved.
Pastor Gary Brandenburg of Fellowship Dallas Church counsels couples of all ages. He suggests, after open records, agree on priorities and then look for places to actually cut spending.
One time a young couple brought me a budget and they had more expenditures than they had income. And I pointed out to them, you know, there's a slight problem here. And I said, you've got a little deficit. What are you going to do? They said, well, we always count on a little extra money. I said, let's redo the budget and not count on a little extra money.
Often, one spouse is the spender, one is the saver. Acknowledge these realities and set up a plan to keep you out of debt. The divorce attorney says debt is an enemy of marriage.
Take one snow day, add a big Valentine's delivery day, and for florists, the outcome is controlled chaos.
We've got 5 on here.
From delivery time slowed by at least a third.
Hi, I've got a delivery for Angie Ray.
To time wasted going to businesses already closed.
Now he's here to pick them up.
To the accident with one delivery van that scared them all.
They were going down the freeway and a big chunk of ice fell off a power line and went through their windshield. And thank the Lord, both of them are okay.
Workers picked up the flowers, checked the stuffed animals for broken glass.
And then sent them back out.
Behind the scenes at Fort Worth's Gordon Boswell Flowers, designers race to meet orders and keep track of changes.
I'm going to have them switched at the front. Thank you very much.
But as the day neared an end, most bouquets were rescheduled or on the way to their rightful owners, in no small part because of the men who came to rescue their sweetheart's undelivered flowers, unwilling to risk missing this look.
This is for you.
I got a wonderful wife that's at home, and I'm doing all that I can to show her how much I love her and to let her know that I want her to be my Valentine this Valentine's Day.
This shop, along with many others, tells us they'll continue to deliver throughout the weekend to ensure delivery by Valentine's Day. In Fort Worth, Chris Hawes, Channel 8 News.
Glenn and Janelle Mason had been together 10 years when they decided to get married.
This was our wedding day, dressed in Western.
10 years later, Glenn got sick. He needed a heart transplant. Janelle worked 2 jobs to pay for medical bills.
Just one heart medication alone was over $200.
The costs spiraled out of control. Left with no options, Janelle pawned her wedding ring.
At that time, I thought that was the only thing I had left to do to help with his last medications that he had to have.
Glenn's health got worse. On February 4th, 2007, he was diagnosed with lung cancer. 10 days later, on Valentine's Day, he died.
And I always said, I can go get it the next month. I'll go get it the next month.
Janelle says when she finally had enough money to pay off the loan and get her ring back, it was too late.
I wished we had it. I really wished we had it.
Jack Bonds.
This would be a great guitar for your grandkid. Oh, absolutely.
The owner of McKinney Jewelry and Loan says items rarely stay in the shop for more than 6 months.
The reality of it is, Steve, it's become someone else's wedding ring now. It's got a whole new life.
So Janelle Mason started searching.
If I could find who has this ring and would be willing to part with it, I'll pay them whatever they're asking because it's sentimental.
She placed an ad on Craigslist, hoping someone would recognize her lost one-of-a-kind ring. But so far, no one has responded.
And then there's a band on this side and a band on this side, and each band has 6 diamonds in it.
McKinney Jewelry and Loan takes in about 40 pieces of jewelry a day.
You know, we don't have anything longer than 6 months typically.
In some cases, buyers melt rings down for the gold and silver. Diamonds are remounted.
Our objective is to sell it cheap, turn the money, make more loans.
Bond says her chances of finding it are slim.
Slim to none. And Slim left town on a spotted pony. That's basically the chance, I would say, after 5 years. It would be a miracle.
Janelle Mason bought another wedding ring from the same store she pawned hers.
It's a cluster also.
But she says it's just not the same. Nothing can replace the ring her and her husband Glenn designed themselves to be an everlasting symbol of their love.
You know, I'm not giving up hope. I'm still trying.
In McKinney, Steve Stoller, Channel 8 News.
Barley tea is just one of the heart-healthy changes the McNeils made after 51-year-old Grover had a heart attack 2 years ago. It was just before Valentine's Day.
The best way I can describe it is Babe Ruth took a Louisville slugger and just hit me right in the middle of the chest. So that's when the real pain started.
Grover actually had a better chance of recovery because he's married. A study in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology found married people are not only less likely to have a heart attack than single people, they're also less likely to die if they do have one.
That angiogram was full of major blockages.
Baylor All Saints Dr. Mohan Satyamurthy says the reasons are scientifically unclear, but medically important.
We don't really understand the scientific underpinnings, but we do know that through lots of different forms of study of companionship, that sense of companionship and friendship tends to be very protective for the heart.
Doctors say they also credit the support of his spouse. After Grover's heart attack, Val bought him a treadmill, massage chair, totally changed what they ate and what vitamins they took. So now, every day, not just Valentine's, is a celebration of love and so much more.
To life.
To life.
Janet St. James, Channel 8 News.
Okay.
That's Noel, who's 85 on the left of the screen, and Pat, 1 year younger, on the right. They grew up friends in Fort Worth, then lost touch as they each married and raised their own families. By 2007, their spouses had passed away, and both of them were lonely.
I didn't have any hopes that I would ever meet anybody again.
That's when another mutual friend, also from childhood, called them both.
She called me and she said, well, do you remember Noel Pittman? And I said, yeah, sure, I remember Noel. And she said, well, his wife died and he's not doing too well, and I thought it'd be nice if y'all would have coffee.
Before long, these old friends were a new thing. But what made Noel decide it was time to get married again?
Well, I guess I have to say that in subtle ways, Pat told me.
Smart. They married in 2009 and lived together in Presbyterian Village North retirement community. Happier and wiser.
And if you think of a bridge as a 50-50 proposition, if one day one of them is only 49, there's a gap. Now, as you get older, you realize that marriage is as close as you can get to 100% overlap. And then you got a real solid basis.
Today, they are inseparable, happily attending events for their combined 12 great-grandchildren. They're drawn together over that strong bridge.
I love you.
And graced by the chance to cross it.
Okay.
David Schechter, Channel 8 News.
For today's modern woman, juggling a demanding career and a jam-packed home life, wine has become the accepted antidote to stress. And why not? After the days they put in, women have earned it. At least that's what society's telling us. Kids driving you crazy? The OMG I so need a glass of wine or I'm going to sell my kids page on Facebook has over 137,000 followers. Social media is full of memes for when it's been one of those weeks. Maybe your book club only reads wine labels, or you're afraid if you give up wine, you'll have to replace it with murder. Each joke seems to enforce that a glass of wine is a necessity, part of life.
I think it was a feeling of that you deserved it.
Until it's not. Just ask the woman we're calling Sue, a working professional living in Dallas with 2 kids. What's most surprising about how her story starts is how typical it sounds.
3 glasses, and there'd be a little bit left for the next day, and I'd think, oh, that was good. I didn't drink a whole bottle.
Nothing about that nightly habit worried Sue.
It's just wine, and it's not impacting how I'm functioning in the morning. I'm, a good mom. I'm getting things done. I'm not falling down, but it was something that was part of my everyday life.
But as the years went on, it wasn't just wine anymore. Quick swigs from the liquor cabinet started giving her that warm buzz well before dinner time.
I would go exercise in the morning and come home and say, that's not gonna be me today, and it would be me.
After an intervention that worked, she would find herself in the care of Dallas-based Enter Health, where she'd wonder how she became an alcoholic.
So the trends are both moms and professional women both have tremendous amount of stress. The higher the stress, the higher chance you have of using alcohol to cope.
Dr. Harold Urschel is Enter Health's chief medical strategist. He says Sue's track of starting with wine leading to heavy hard alcohol use is a common one. And it shouldn't surprise you that he's seeing a steady number of accomplished women seeking treatment. Gallup polls show the more educated and well-off a woman is, the more likely she is to drink. In 2015, the poll found 80% of college grads drink, and wine is the preferred beverage. 78% live in homes earning $75,000 or more each year. And when it comes to consequences, women show up there, too. On October 26, 2015, Dallas police arrested Olga Fernandez Caraveo for driving drunk after they say she sped the wrong way on Highway 75. 5 days later, on Halloween, Amy Rodales of Frisco had her 2 kids in the car when officers say she drunkenly steered their SUV into a neighborhood pond.
Even the strongest, most well-meaning mother or corporate exec, they can't tell there's a problem, and they think they're hiding it from everybody, and usually they're doing a very poor job.
That includes Sue, who couldn't hide her sips of booze from her kids. Doctors began treating her addiction like a chronic brain disease.
That was the start of my recovery, and that was 2 years ago.
She has been sober ever since. And she has this advice.
If you're thinking that you're drinking too much, you probably are drinking too much.
If this is all hitting a little too close to home, doctors say try to go dry 5 nights a week. Replace wine with naps and exercise. That way, you'll raise a glass because you can, not because you can't survive without it. An engineer by trade, Emily Lewis's proudest accomplishment is being mom.
Ready?
Up to this bunch of 6.
We homeschool all of them, and so we get to talk about lots of stuff all the time.
Their talks turned pretty serious. At age 40, a nagging headache and sharp leg pain landed Emily in urgent care. Doctors told her it was meningitis. Then they found a heart murmur and eventually an enlarged blood vessel in her heart.
Her aneurysm was growing pretty fast, which tells us that it's not very strong and is at risk for rupturing and taking her life. You can see that's about twice as big as...
Dr. Mark Poole performed surgery to replace a section of Emily's heart, but it gets tricky.
The heart has to be stopped in order to replace that part of the aorta.
So Dr. Poole used a technique called hypothermic circulatory arrest, meaning he froze Emily's body for 21 minutes.
We cooled the patient down to nearly ice cold and then completely shut the blood flow off.
Now, to you, that may sound like death, but Dr. Poole says it's actually what kept Emily alive.
The brain can only go for about 3 or 4 minutes without blood flow at normal temperature, but the colder you make the brain, the longer it can go. That is doing well.
Now, with part of her heart replaced, Emily is happy to be 100% back to herself.
See? I'm pretty good. It's amazing. It's a gift. We're not promised a single day, so all of our life is a gift.
In his 18 years as a high school principal, Bertie Montgomery has hired hundreds of important people, but none more significant than a man he brought to Wiley High School 5 years ago.
We have high expectations for everybody we hire, but this one's off the chart.
So, who is this superstar?
Hey, friend!
The school security guard.
Take care now.
70-year-old Joe Flora loves his job. In fact, he moved more than 1,000 miles from Ohio just to work here.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But what makes Joe great is his ability to connect so deeply with these students.
You're a winner. God bless you.
Joe is so popular that traffic often backs up several cars deep, just waiting to say hi.
You take care now. Bye-bye.
He says this really has been the best job of his life.
This place has really got a big piece of my heart right here.
Which is why it shocked everyone. When Joe recently announced he was quitting.
Like losing part of your family.
So what drives a man to quit the job he loves more than anything?
We were married December 19th.
The woman he loves more than anything. Joe first met his wife, Margaret, at a school dance in 1960. And for the past 56 years, they've been inseparable. Through military service, 3 daughters, and 11 grandchildren, they've been side by side.
You know, I know you remember this.
But it wasn't until recently that everyone truly found out just how strong their bond was.
Yeah.
2 years ago, Margaret was diagnosed with dementia.
And
Joe says recently, things have gotten worse.
What was his name?
Which made quitting his job an easy decision.
I would give up my life for her. If I could take that disease on myself, I would do it willingly, because she has so much to offer to people.
Luckily, she's still able to offer him something she hasn't lost.
The one thing she never forgets, we've sung together all of our lives. My sunshine, my only sunshine, you make me happy.
Her memories may be fading, but their hearts have never been more in harmony.
Eventually, it could come to a point where she won't remember me, but I'll never forget her.
By the look on her face, she knows. She knows.
Please don't take my sunshine away.
Sean Giggy, Channel 8 News.
Sometimes two become one, till debt do they part.
Unfortunately, in my practice, I hear of it often.
Financial advisors see money problems end in divorce or in unhealthy silence.
They stopped talking about money because every time they talked about money, it was a fight.
Surveys find 70% of married people argue about money, more than household chores, togetherness, even sex. And more than a third of couples who are stressed blame finances. But not Bob and Gail Schultz.
I couldn't imagine fighting with him over money.
Together 44 years, they've been an open book, an open checkbook really, from day one.
And I told him the first thing, I want to be honest.
Communication is key.
They need to be more comfortable with the subject of money.
Experts recommend couples meet regularly to talk about all finances. Also, have a budget and allow allowances.
It's nice to have a little account on the side that's yours, that you can treat and reward yourself, but actually be doing that with the approval of your spouse.
Advice that may help a marriage be richer rather than poorer, with more good times than bad. Jason Wheeler, Channel 8 News.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon to hear newlyweds say they'll remember their wedding forever.
That was awesome.
But when Paul Wilson and his bride Emily say it, you can't help but believe them.
And it's something I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it was perfect. It really was.
The day was memorable, not because of anything that happened or something that was said, but because of where it was.
This is where it all happened. You know, my big thing was I wanted my dad there.
Paul Wilson II was killed in a car crash when his son was just 4. He was one of the most respected doctors in North Texas, and although he's been gone 5 decades, you can tell he's still loved. Paul says he comes here often to talk to his dad about the moments he's missed.
That cemetery is a doorbell to heaven.
Baptism, graduation, the birth of his children. They've talked about every one.
Literally my best friend.
So when it came time to marry the love of his life, Paul figured, why wait to tell his dad when he could show him?
And by joining hands.
2 weeks ago, Paul and Emily stood at Pecan Grove Cemetery in McKinney and read their vows.
It seemingly should be sad, but it was so happy. My dad was right next to me when we got married. And that was I've got goosebumps talking about that because it was that special. He was right here. He was right here.
Paul says this isn't about mourning. It's more about loving someone when not even death will do you part. Sean Giggy, Channel 8 News, Daybreak.
The Gockler story began with 2 high schoolers, a missing textbook, and history class.
He came and pulled his chair up next to mine and said, I forgot my book. I need to share yours. And I hadn't really ever noticed him before.
And the rest, as they say, is history. Barry and Pat have been married now 49 years. And in case you're wondering,
Pass the ball. She runs the show.
I don't know about that.
I obey well. That's why we've been married for 49 years.
they've lived in various states and even overseas and raised kids. Life experiences that help create a bond that cannot be broken. Not even when Barry was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 15 years ago.
And then you accept the fact of it and you deal with it.
They joined the Parkinson Voice Project's Loud Crowd, a North Texas program where members do voice exercises on a regular basis. It helps slow the debilitating effects of the disease. And so does the ballroom dancing they've both picked up. So on this Valentine's Day, they won't do anything really special per se.
Well, we say every day is Valentine's Day.
Our brethren are already in the field.
But they will spend time with their friends at Parkinson Voice Project and get plenty of exercise on the dance floor, all the while exemplifying what true love really means.
Learn to work together with all aspects of your life, because something like Parkinson's affects all aspects of your life.
Marcus Moore, Channel 8 News.
Private Detective Daniel Gomez is working overtime this week. He's on a mission to catch would-be cheaters with undercover Valentine's Day plans.
And I think lots of times men look at that woman and it's like, she would never lie to me. But those big brown eyes sometimes lie. And that's where I come in.
That's right. This former Dallas police officer now makes a living getting that photo that can answer the question, is there someone else? You may have seen him. He was even the lead detective on the show Cheaters for years.
Seen back here in this park lot.
But now he's got a private practice right here in Dallas, and Valentine's is hands down his busiest time of the year.
Because this week Valentine's falls on a Wednesday. So it's right in the middle of the week. So if someone's going to cheat, they got 7 days to get it done.
So I asked Detective Gomez to show me how he gets that incriminating shot.
So right now we're going to a hotel. This is somewhere that you would go often to stake out.
First, identify where the car is parked at. Got about 15 to 20 seconds of video that I can get from them walking out that door and going this way.
Gomez says he even has to pull in extra staff this week. And they've got gadgets too, like recording devices and this nifty little GPS tracker.
There's something going on every day.
While we know Cupid will be busy this week, so will this gumshoe. Valentine's, he'll be right here, making sure Cupid's arrow lands where it's supposed to be.
I'm going to say it like this. You can be the first to know or the last to know. It's your decision.
In Dallas, Hannah Davis, News 8 Daybreak.
When I tried to get, when I tried to leave, she wouldn't leave.
This is the story of Juan Garcia.
It just went really bad.
And the day his life went really, really wrong.
It just snowballed.
He was a teenage dad in Denton with a marriage falling apart who found his wife with another man.
Yeah, I screamed, I was mad, and me and the guy got into an altercation, and then, I told her, I was like, we're done for sure. We're done.
And by the time it was done, he was convicted of breaking into her apartment and kidnapping, and got 7.5 years behind bars.
And so, I just did my time.
But it's time Juan's mother, Alejandra, essentially did too.
Difficult, very.
Yeah. Difficult all that time waiting for her baby son to come home. But Alejandra Garcia visited her son in prison nearly every weekend for those 7 years. And when he got out,
hi, Mom.
Happy birthday!
Showered him with the 7 birthday presents he'd missed.
Open up. Happy birthday. Happy 7th birthday.
So how does a now reformed son say thank you for all that?
I just can't wait for her reaction.
Well, he starts like this.
You get to choose a gift.
Oh, really?
Piece of jewelry.
Oh, wow.
A surprise trip to a private jewelry store in Dallas. A mom's chance to pick whatever gift she wanted.
Whatever you would desire, it would be our honor for you to have it for Valentine's Day.
Alejandra chose a silver heart necklace for the broken heart.
she's had these last 7 years.
How appreciative I am as far as her support and love. And so for any opportunity I can return it, I will. And I have. And I always will. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you.
I'm sorry for all the times that I made you worry.
Several more ex-cons would get this same chance at Patty Giola's jewelry store, a gift she wanted to offer for lives turned around.
And I just have to say thank you so much for always never giving up on me.
This is Sherry Payton getting a thank you from her formerly drug-addicted daughter.
Love you. I love you.
A hug and a bracelet that clearly mean a lot more than you might think. The tears tell you that.
Because I've waited for this for a long, long time. To have my child, my baby back. She is my baby.
My way of letting you know that I'm sorry for all of that. And my way of letting you know that we don't have to go back there again and you can sleep easily knowing where your daughter's at.
I'm here to tell Jody how proud I am of her. I just want her to know that she doesn't have to be sorry. Just know that I believe in her and I know what she can do. It's a huge, awesome blessing.
A blessing on Valentine's Day from a kid to their first Valentine, their mom.
I can guarantee her, like, the future will be better. It doesn't stop. It won't stop.
Because a mom's love never stops. No matter how many years it may have been locked away. In Dallas, Kevin Reese, Channel 8 News.
There's a sure place you can find a Valentine if you're willing to go great lengths.
Looking for love in too many places.
Deep into West Texas, we found a place where love is signed, sealed, and delivered.
Normal day, we might send out up to 50 letters. Of course, through Valentine's Day, it's nothing to send out 1,000 or more a day.
So then, what's so romantic about this small town that makes thousands send their love? Oh yeah.
Valentine used to be a booming town. After the railroad moved out, it kind of slowed down.
The movie Giant was actually filmed in Valentine.
And a cafe James Dean used to frequent is just about the only place left.
What are the places to eat in Valentine?
There's not.
36 miles to the closest town that has a grocery store or a gas station.
But this disappearing town has something that's a rare find these days. The love letter.
From all over the world. We get them from Japan, Switzerland, Canada.
It started about 30 years ago, and here's how it works. People put their address-stamped letters in a bigger envelope and send them to this post office with 2 employees who stamp them with a Valentine postmark.
There's no machines or anything, so we do it all by hand.
Each year, the design is different. Valentine's school children submit their drawings, and the city council picks the winner.
I think every one of them is kind of unique and different.
This year's winner, a pickup truck with a very appropriate Waylon Jennings song verse to show the world there's still plenty to love about Valentine, Texas.
And I just love it here. The people are so nice and sweet, and it's just so peaceful.
We've been so busy keeping up with the Jones.
And in a place where commercialism exists only as a statement of art.
Maybe it's time we got back to the basics of love.
It's the little things that travel a long way. At 148 years, Cleburne is one of the oldest cities in Texas. And this flower shop downtown has been around for nearly all of it.
102 years, yes.
John Patrick is the 3rd-generation owner of Patrick's Cleburne Floral.
It's been a great thing for my family.
He says flowers are practically in his DNA.
Probably.
Way back in 1917, his grandparents put down roots. Then his mom and dad took over and watched it grow. And since 1977, John has made sure business is blooming.
So about 41 years.
Few places in Cleburne have this much history. That's John's grandpa, number 20 there,
as a founding member of the Chamber of Commerce in 1919. Today, John's daughter is the fourth generation of Patricks to work in this store.
Unfortunately, neither flowers nor flower shops last forever, which is why a few weeks ago, John made the decision that after 102 years, the doors would be closing.
It's never easy when you've been doing something for 41 years.
The decision has been so heart-wrenching, it took John nearly 10 minutes to express how he felt.
We try to do things from the heart.
So with a tear in his eye, John shared the news on Facebook. And to his surprise, the messages began pouring in. From all over the state, people said this store was less of a flower shop and more like family.
It's very gratifying.
But John says what's really blown him away are the people who have offered to buy the business and keep it alive.
If it continues, it'll make me happy.
For more than a century, this family thought it was simply selling flowers, but they've clearly planted something beautiful. Sean Giggy, Daybreak.
At the Tarrant County Courthouse,
I feel on top of the world.
Love is in the air.
Bundle of nerves, but I'm happy.
On Friday, Justice of the Peace Ralph Swearingen
to have and to hold
surprised Derek and Solana Welch.
For you only.
For you only.
With a Valentine's Day wedding as colorful as the couple.
Then by the authority vested in me by the state of Texas, I now pronounce you husband and wife, and you can kiss your bride. Congratulations to you.
Swearingen and his staff went all out.
For as long as you live.
With gifts and decorations, not just for the Welches, but for the dozens of couples that tied the knot throughout the day.
Wonderful. It was very, very special, and the judge was fantastic.
Couples that got married here today left the courtroom with a marriage certificate, a balloon, a gift bag with a couple of champagne flutes, and of course, memories to last a lifetime.
I really like it. Being Valentine's, it put a spark on it.
Each couple left the courthouse, starting a new life on the right foot.
I know.
Thanks in part to one judge who went the extra mile.
I think you went above and beyond.
To make their unforgettable day.
It's more than we were expecting.
Has a couple glass flutes in there?
Thank you, sir.
Just a little bit more special.
That's amazing. I think that's really nice of him.
In Fort Worth, I'm Eric Alvarez.
Hi, everyone.
Cupid is a 7-week-old puppy at the Fort Worth Animal Shelter.
I've been here as long as I can remember.
Where every day, families come to see the animals.
I sit up and wag my tail as hard as I can.
But no matter how much love he has to give,
no one ever takes me home.
Well, I've got good news for you, buddy. You and all of your friends here at the Fort Worth Animal Shelter might get someone to love you back just in time for Valentine's Day.
Or get them in a loving home for a night.
Shelter Superintendent Tony Hiller says this Friday and Saturday, anyone can stop by, pick up a dog or cat, and take them home for a Valentine's slumber party.
You're going to get a leash, a collar, you're going to get a bag of food, you're going to get a toy as well.
If you and your dog or cat make a love connection, great. It might be the first step toward adoption. If not, just bring them back the next day and tell the staff about your experience.
Because that's very important for us, because it helps us know how the animal did out and about, so that helps potential adopters.
The shelter needs volunteers now more than ever. As more and more people move into town, the shelter takes in more and more animals. During the summer months, there are plenty of volunteers in foster homes, but last year, from December to March, volunteer hours were 50% lower, and animals placed in foster care were down almost 60%.
Volunteers are vitally important to what we do.
So if you don't have plans this weekend, consider giving Cupid a shot.
I'd love to be your date.
Or maybe an older dog or cat.
I'm free this weekend.
No matter what your type is, you don't have to be alone this Valentine's Day. In Fort Worth, I'm Eric Alvarez.
It's a day some can't wait for, others try to ignore. Whatever you call this holiday, it's one filled with cards, gifts, and deception. Romance scammers are out there, typically targeting people online. They typically are going to pose as someone else, forming an online relationship with their victim, sometimes using months to build trust. Then at some point, the scammer will try to convince their target to send them money, usually through an emotional story, such as being robbed, needing to travel, or a health emergency. Of the 100 Texans who reported a romance scam to the Better Business Bureau over the past 5 years, 54% lost money. On average, victims were out more than $22,000. Wire transfers were the primary way that people paid, with online services like PayPal and Venmo also common. Scammers prefer to use these methods because they are difficult, sometimes impossible to trace, and in most cases, victims never get their money back. Of the Texas romance scam victims, men in their 20s and 30s were most likely to report a scam, with women having a larger range of susceptibility. So if you're someone looking for love online this Valentine's Day, make sure to check out our full story, well, here online. I promise you can trust me with tips to keep your heart and your wallet safe.
68 seconds. That's how long it takes the elevator to get to the top of Reunion Tower. And this Valentine's Day, that's also how quickly
You can get married. Katie, will you answer my questions?
Absolutely. Yes.
People can get married in the elevator, Reunion Tower, for Valentine's Day.
If they can do it in 68 seconds.
Why would people want to get married in Reunion Tower?
We actually had a lot of guest demand for it. Everybody here in Dallas thinks the ball belongs to them, so why not choose a place where you can do your wedding in 68 seconds?
How can people squeeze it in this quickly? This elevator's going kind of fast.
I think that the Justice of the Peace has been practicing.
Newlyweds, renewal vows, anybody?
We'll do it all. We love the vow renewals because we call it a reunion.
Have you ever had weddings in an elevator before?
There actually was a couple that got married in a 68-second ride. Their guests were upstairs, and when they got off the elevator, they said, "Surprise, we're married!"
And what better way to end a wedding than with a view? Beautiful, isn't it?
At a little yellow house in West Tawakoni, you can count on a couple of things. A curious cat that will definitely interrupt your interview.
8 years.
Uh-oh.
I figured he might do that, yeah.
You'll also find a house full of reminders that a child with a congenital heart defect lives here, with a mom fighting for his life.
To be honest, devastating.
Devastating to find out that her son Braden was born with a hole in his heart, and that after that surgery, a pacemaker would be next.
2 years old, 2.5 to be exact.
So here's the good news. Braden is 12 now. He and his pacemaker and his sense of humor are doing just fine.
A lot of people think it's just old people who always have that pacemaker, you know, like them old geezers. Can you say that?
Like me, is that what you're saying? Old geezers like me. But his family wants to talk about all this because this is a Pediatric Heart Awareness Week. Urge families to get their kids tested early. Don't wait until it's too late.
We don't, talk about it and turn this, what could be a very scary, grim, experience into something positive and letting people know that they're not alone, then everything he's gone through is in vain.
A message Braden shares with any other kid who might be facing the same.
My heart's still beating, so I just tell him, well, it's gonna be okay. God's got you. You're in great hands.
And if you ask him really nicely, this 12-year-old who comes from a family of musicians will let you hear his heart.
Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore.
And I'm honestly grateful to the doctors and especially to God and technology, that he's here.
Still here, with a song in his heart, a pacemaker keeping time, and a message to the next kid that their next verse is possible too.
I love you.
You totally undersold that. You totally undersold that. In West Tawakoni, I'm Kevin Reese.
Have to get here early, get started so that they can have them all day and enjoy them.
Jeff Neighbors begins his day around 4 a.m.
The main thing is having a good pair of sharp clippers.
He moves quickly inside his shop on Oaklawn Avenue.
Birthdays, anniversaries.
Getting all the orders done.
Love that deep color.
And sanitized before the delivery trucks arrive.
Especially now with COVID, and there's so much stress in people's life that if you can bring them a little bit of happiness, I want to be the one to do it.
Jeff goes out of his way to learn as much as possible about his customers.
I want them to know that I'm part of the arrangement they're getting and that they receive something special made just for them.
And lately, so many of them are filled with sorrow.
They wanted it blue and white.
Planning funerals for victims of COVID-19.
This week alone, I've done 3 COVID and have 2 more tomorrow.
During these sad times, Jeff hopes his arrangements heal.
The people will look back and say, you know, yeah, we were having a tough time and things were hard for us, but my florist did a really good job and help take our minds off our grief just for a moment.
But it can be tough on him too.
I'll be happy when that part of the business slows down a little bit.
That's why this year more than ever, Jeff is looking forward to Valentine's Day.
I think it's going to be better because I think people need more happiness.
The key, Jeff says, is getting all of his orders delivered by noon.
More people that see him in the office and go home and beat their boyfriends and husbands up or whatever so that they call me and order more, you know?
It hasn't been easy.
This one's a just because.
Owning a business in a pandemic.
And her favorite flower was daisies. So that's what we're doing for her.
But even COVID can't diminish the power of a flower.
It means even more to me when I get that phone call or that note in the mail saying that I made their event or their occasion spectacular.
In Dallas.
That makes me even want to work harder and do more.
I'm Ariel Placencia.
We were fully booked.
It's a day the restaurant industry loves.
God knows we look forward to it.
But after a snowstorm hit North Texas,
and it's just been dead.
Valentine's Day 2021 was heartbreaking.
And here I am, standing in an empty restaurant, unfortunately.
Niall Rodriguez owns Orno in Oaklawn.
We were fully booked from 11 a.m. that we were open, slated to open, until 9 p.m. that we were planning on closing. And then slowly and surely over the course of the weekend, starting Friday, everybody started canceling.
In Lower Greenville, much of the same.
This is not what people move here expecting, right?
Many bars and restaurants quiet, including Charlie's Creole Kitchen.
This is a tough time for us because we're coming into Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is our biggest day of the year, and maybe we're not going to be able to be open on that day. It's going to be a little bump in the road for us over the next couple of days, but I'm confident. This is going to move out, and we'll get back to what we're doing.
The winter storm kept Kroger busy.
We didn't get any sweets. We kind of choked on that one.
Many couples found their dinner at the grocery store.
The frozen section's pretty much all gone, so definitely have some limited choices in what we can get, but there's still some stuff.
We tried making reservations to go do something festive, but most places are closed today.
It's a little sad in here, unfortunately.
At Orno,
I got the perfect, music on for a lovely day.
Niall had the music, the roses, and the food ready. He just missed that usual crowd.
Full house, every table, the bar completely full.
The only thing that came through this Valentine's Day,
I have an empty restaurant. I'm the only one here.
Was Mother Nature.
If you don't make it today, make a reservation for the following weekend.
In Dallas.
Support local. Support your local restaurateur.
I'm Alex Rozier.
Laura Lee Estes always dreamed of a fairy tale life.
I want to touch my heart.
And when she married her college sweetheart in 1980,
yes, 1980.
That's exactly what she got, or so she thought.
I thought it was going to be Cinderella and you kissed and everything worked out magically. And that didn't quite work out.
Laura Lee says they were just too young to make a marriage work. After just 4 years, they agreed to go their separate ways. Her ex-husband, Paul, moved to Alabama, had a daughter, and went through a second divorce.
And so...
Meanwhile, Laura Lee moved to Plano and became a school counselor. She never remarried.
But she also never gave up hope that she'd find her Prince Charming. It never happened. Until a few years ago, she was traveling out of town, and along the way, she reached out to an old friend, a guy she deeply admired, but hadn't seen in almost 40 years.
You didn't expect to see her again.
No, I did not. No. I don't know about love at first sight with somebody that you've never met before, but I know that it was love at the second sight for this one.
After 4 decades apart, Laura Lee and Paul got an I do over.
It was wonderful.
They say this time,
and is wonderful.
Their marriage is built to last.
Well,
in fact, the only thing that might trip them up are the dogs.
Okay, that's not working.
Laura Lee says she only wishes this would have happened sooner because it's everything she ever wanted.
Well, it is like the fairy tale. It is the prince and that dream working out.
And it's a chance for 2 hearts to finally live happily ever after.
Thanks for your help.
In Plano, I'm Sean Giggy.
Just because I got a shot doesn't mean I save you. You're giving bone marrow from your body.
Call it a conversation about love.
Because my bone marrow is messed up. It has cancer.
Love expressed in a special brotherly bond between 13-year-old Preston Pipkins and his 7-year-old little brother Cameron while connecting in a hospital room at Children's Medical in Dallas.
And you don't need to give all the bone marrow. You just need to give a little bit.
You see, Preston was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia last year, a type of cancer of the blood and bone marrow. Rounds of chemo have proven to be tough on the teen. It's been hard on his family, too.
Challenging is not even the correct word for it.
But Mom Rachel Pipkin says Preston's a strong boy, and little Cameron's commitment to being his big brother's bone marrow donor in a surgery scheduled on Valentine's Day is speaking volumes.
He saved me. You saved me. No, you saved me. No, you saved me. You don't understand it? You saved me, boy! Don't you argue with me!
Yeah, they're the typical brothers. They may fight a little, but Cameron says he just wants his brother to get better.
I don't like him being in the hospital and he has to take medicine every day.
Finding a donor for Preston wasn't easy.
We looked on the registry and Preston did not have a viable match. So Cameron is his only option.
A life-saving option that's bringing these two brothers closer.
And what does that make you? A Connor. No, you're a real-life superhero.
So on a day when many are thinking about love, a couple of little boys from Dallas are showing their love while proving all superheroes don't wear capes. In Dallas, I'm Damon Fernandez.